I think to start looking at that, we should take up what happened at the G7 event, where there was an effort from the British in particular to change the terms of what Biden had said about leaving on August 31st. And Biden rejected that, and the British have not stopped gnashing their teeth and complaining about that.
Well, first of all, I find it noteworthy that Biden said something I think, in response to some reporters. He said that, the Taliban is now confronted with the task to take care of the well-being of the Afghanistan people. And that is something which for hundreds of years was not attempted by anybody. Now, I thought that that remark was extremely telling. First of all, it's true. The Taliban now is confronted with the fact that, the only way how they can maintain power, they have to address the hungry people. One of three Afghani people are going hungry every day, are food insecure. There is a very poor health system in the middle of a pandemic. So the Taliban must do something, to stabilize the situation, which is recognized by, as I said, the neighbors. And Biden addressed that. I thought this was important because that has not been a consideration by, NATO, obviously, because, after 20 years, they leave the country in a impoverished, terrible condition. So the British naturally are completely freaked out because they wanted to drag on. Uh, Boris Johnson had called the G7 in his capacity. I think he's Britain is chairman of the G7 for this time. So the meeting was convened, and he did not succeed to convince Biden to prolong the date beyond the August 31st, which has been already rejected by the Taliban. They regard the NATO as an occupying force, and they want to stop that. And I'm not making judgment on everything the Taliban stands for, but they regard NATO as an occupying force. They regarded their war as a war of independence, rejecting the foreign occupation, and therefore they did not prolong this deadline. Now, that is now causing an incredible freak out. Tony Blair, the architect, or probably one of the architects of this entire unholy interventionist war policy. Remember his infamous speech in Chicago in 1999, where he basically said, now the Peace of Westphalia order is basically finished. We have to protect democracy and human rights. And that was the beginning of giving the theoretical underpinning for the right to go into somebody else's country, create havoc, millions of deaths, and then leave it, under shameful conditions. So this guy basically called the idea to end the endless wars an imbecilic policy. Now, attacking Biden, now that I think is very revealing, and there's a huge freak out ever since that the special relationship between the United States and Great Britain is destroyed, it's finished. You have Lord Darroch, the former UK ambassador in Washington, saying this is the end of global Great Britain, global Britain. And, he was the one who had said we have to flood the environment of Trump to make sure that there's a complete controlled environment around it. Then he had to leave early in 2019. So there are other people in Great Britain absolutely beyond themselves, besides themselves. There is a certain Colonel Kemp, a former British commander of the British troops in Afghanistan, who said, unlike some Republican congressmen in the United States who demand the resignation of Biden, he said that Biden should be court-martialed. I mean, these people are completely off the wall. And there was one commentary which I thought was quite interesting, saying that the fact that Biden did not consult with the British on making this decision to not prolong the date beyond end of August basically means that global Great Britain is just two empty words. And I think this is true because the special relationship between the UK and Great Britain, which was really the basis of this war policy, the unipolar world, run on the basis of the British Empire. You get the British brain and the American muscle to, subdue the world. That has now been blown apart. And, I think this is a very, very useful outcome, especially because everybody can see the shameful result of this policy.
I think it's important to note that what Blair was saying was not that he disagreed with the way that the withdrawal took place. He disagreed with the idea of ending an endless war. That's what he was calling imbecilic. So it was attacking Biden. It was also attacking Trump. It was attacking the people in America who are opposed to continuing this war. Now,